Hollywood has always been very good at building stars. The lights, the premieres, the names set in brass on the sidewalk. But Hollywood has always been just as good at something else: making a person disappear. Tonight we're going to bring 10 of them back. Some made mistakes, some were victims of their time, and some were simply too talented, too honest, or too inconvenient for the studios to keep around. By the time we reach number 1, you understand why the first black woman ever to win an Oscar was forced to sit at a table on the far side of the room, away from the people she had just beaten. These are the Hollywood stars the studios tried to erase. Number 10. Bob Crane. For 6 seasons in the 1960s, Bob Crane was one of the most beloved faces on American television. Colonel Hogan, the wisecracking war hero of Hogan's Heroes. But when the show ended in 1971, the offers dried up, and then the rumors about his private life began. As the scandal spread, the studios stopped calling. By 1978, Crane was performing in a small dinner theater in Scottsdale, Arizona. On June 29th of that year, he was found bludgeoned to death in his apartment. He was 49 years old. His murder has never been solved, and a scandalized Hollywood quietly let his name fade away. Number 9. Brittany Murphy. In the 1990s, Brittany Murphy was everywhere. Clueless, 8 Mile, Girl Interrupted, a bright, quick, instantly likable actress with a voice you never forgot. But by her late 20s, the big roles had slowed. The studios had quietly moved on to the next young star. On December 20th, 2009, Brittany Murphy collapsed in her home and died. She was 32 years old. 5 months later, her husband died in the same house, under hauntingly similar circumstances. Hollywood mourned for a day or two, and then it moved on, the way it so often does with the young stars it stops needing. Up next, the Superman star who suffered a public breakdown on the streets of Los Angeles, and the actress who says loving the wrong person cost her 10 years of her career. Number 8. Anne Heche. In the late 1990s, Anne Heche was a rising star. Donnie Brasco, Wag the Dog, 6 Days, 7 Nights, opposite Harrison Ford. She was being built into a leading lady. Then, in 1997, she fell in love with Ellen DeGeneres. It was one of the first openly same-sex relationships between 2 famous women in Hollywood history, and Anne Heche said it cost her everything. She said she was fired from a $10 million movie deal. She said she didn't appear in a single studio film for the next decade. Loving the wrong person in 1997 was enough to quietly end a career. In August of 2022, Anne Heche died after a car crash in Los Angeles. She was 53 years old. She spent more than 20 years insisting the industry had punished her simply for telling the truth about who she loved. Number 7. Margot Kidder. For a generation, Margot Kidder was Lois Lane. She starred opposite Christopher Reeve in 4 Superman films. But behind the fame, Kidder was struggling with bipolar disorder, undiagnosed until she was in her 40s. In 1990, a car accident left her partially paralyzed. She couldn't work for 2 years. The debts piled up. Then, in 1996, a computer virus destroyed 3 years of work on her autobiography. It triggered a manic episode. Margot Kidder went missing for 4 days. When police finally found her, she was hiding in a stranger's backyard in Los Angeles. The breakdown became a tabloid spectacle. Hollywood didn't offer help, it offered headlines. She rebuilt her life and became a fierce mental health advocate, but the industry never gave Lois Lane her place back. Up next, the Hollywood bombshell who secretly invented the technology inside your phone, and the biggest movie star in the world destroyed by a scandal he was found innocent of. Number 6. Hedy Lamarr. In the 1940s, Hedy Lamarr was marketed as the most beautiful woman in the world. MGM put her in Samson and Delilah, Algiers, Ziegfeld Girl. The studio sold her face. The studio never asked about her mind. But behind the glamour, Hedy Lamarr was an inventor. During World War II, she and a composer named George Antheil designed a system called frequency hopping, a way to keep radio signals from being jammed. They patented it in 1942. The technology was decades ahead of its time. Today, it lives inside your Wi-Fi, your Bluetooth, your GPS. Hedy Lamarr never earned a single dollar from it. She died in Florida in 2000, largely forgotten, reclusive, 85 years old. The woman who helped build the modern world was remembered by Hollywood only for her face. Number 5. Fatty Arbuckle. In 1921, Roscoe Fatty Arbuckle was the highest paid star in Hollywood. He had just signed a deal worth $3 million, an unimaginable sum at the time. Then came the party. A young woman named Virginia Rapp fell ill at a hotel gathering in San Francisco and died days later. Arbuckle was charged with her death. The newspapers convicted him before any jury could. He stood trial 3 times, and on the third, the jury didn't just acquit him. They handed him a written apology, declaring a great injustice had been done. But it didn't matter. The studios had already banned his films. His name was poison. Roscoe Arbuckle, proven innocent, spent his last years broke and broken, and died in 1933 at just 46. The verdict said not guilty. Hollywood erased him anyway. Then next comes the movie star the FBI personally set out to destroy, and the actress who made history with an Oscar nomination, then died with $2 to her name. Number 4. Jean Seberg. Jean Seberg was an American girl from Iowa who became a star of French cinema. Breathless, Saint Joan. She was luminous, modern, unforgettable. But Jean Seberg believed in things. She donated to the NAACP. She supported the Black Panther Party. She gave her money and her name to the civil rights causes she believed in. And that made her a target of the most powerful man in American law enforcement. Under J. Edgar Hoover, the FBI launched a secret campaign to destroy her. In 1970, they planted a false story in the press about the paternity of her unborn child. The stress sent Seberg into premature labor. Her baby daughter lived only a few days. She never recovered. Blacklisted, surveilled, broken, Jean Seberg died in Paris in 1979. She was 40 years old. The FBI later admitted the entire campaign against her had been a lie. Number 3. Dorothy Dandridge. In 1954, Dorothy Dandridge made history. For her role in Carmen Jones, she became the first black woman ever nominated for the Academy Award for Best Actress. She was on the cover of Life magazine. She signed a major studio contract. She was meant to be the first black movie star. But Hollywood in the 1950s had no real roles for a black leading lady. The parts she was offered were small, or stereotyped, or never came at all. Her finances collapsed. Her marriage collapsed. By 1963, she could no longer afford the care her disabled daughter needed. On September 8, 1965, Dorothy Dandridge was found dead in her apartment. She was 42 years old. She had $2 left in her bank account. We've reached the final 2. The Paramount star locked away in a state institution for 5 years, and the woman who made history at the Oscars then was told she could not sit in the same room as the people who gave her the award. Number 2. Frances Farmer. In 1936, the legendary director Cecil B. DeMille called Frances Farmer the most exciting screen find of the year. Howard Hawks said she was the greatest actress he had ever worked with. She had a 7-year contract with Paramount. She had Broadway. She had everything. But Frances Farmer was strong-willed in an era that punished women for it. She clashed with the studios. She struggled with alcohol. She struggled quietly with her mental health. And in 1944, at the request of her own family, Frances Farmer was committed to a state mental institution. She remained locked away for 5 years. Insulin shock, electroshock, a violent ward. When she was finally released, the brilliant actress Hollywood had once celebrated was a shell of the woman she had been. It would be nearly 15 years before she could work again. The studios that built her simply closed the door. Number 1. Hattie McDaniel. On February 29, 1940, Hattie McDaniel made history. For her role in Gone with the Wind, she became the first black person ever to win an Academy Award. But that night, inside the Ambassador Hotel in Los Angeles, Hattie McDaniel was not allowed to sit with her own cast. The hotel had a strict no black policy. The film's producer had to call ahead just to get her through the door. So while her white co-stars sat together, celebrating, the woman about to make history was placed at a small table against the far wall. She gave her speech. She returned to that segregated table. It would be 50 years before another black woman won an Oscar. When Hattie McDaniel died in 1952, her final wish was to be buried in the Hollywood Cemetery. She was refused. The cemetery, too, was for whites only. And the Oscar she made history with, the one she left to Howard University, quietly went missing and has never been found. 10 stars. Some made mistakes, some were victims of their time, and some did nothing at all, except exist in a Hollywood that wasn't ready for them. Tonight, we said their names again. If one of these stories stayed with you, tell us in the comments below. Which name do you think the world should never have forgotten? And tell us who we should remember next. We read every single one. Take care of yourselves, and remember, the lights of Hollywood fade, but a name, once spoken again, never truly disappears.